Love after 60. Has shown male spot he wants you to know. After 60, intimacy changes, but desire doesn't disappear. There's a part of his body that if you touch it the right way, will make him forget every woman he's ever been with before you. That's how much of a game changer it can be. And yet so many older women never go near it, never explore it, never even think to pay attention to it. We live in a world where people talk a lot about women's pleasure spots, and rightfully so. But when it comes to men, the conversation almost always reduces itself to one obvious area: the joystick. That's important, but if you just stop there, you're missing the doorway to a kind of connection and pleasure that goes beyond the physical. Welcome back to my channel. It's Vernon again. In today's video, I'll reveal the has-shown male spot he secretly wants you to know about. The one he'll never tell you himself, but will beg you never to stop once you find it. And when you find that spot, the one that makes him stop breathing for a moment, you're not just touching his body, you're reminding him he's still a man. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more insights on emotional and physical intimacy. After 60, let's talk about what truly moves a man beyond touch. Why men never ask for it, but fantasize about it. Men after 60 carry a quiet kind of vulnerability, the kind they rarely put into words. They've spent decades being the protector, the provider, the one who gives, fixes, and leads. So when it comes to desire, they've learned to hide more than they reveal. They won't ask for what they truly want, not because they don't feel it, but because they've been trained to believe wanting too much is weakness. The truth is, men fantasize about being desired not for what they do, but for who they are. They crave softness, curiosity, and warmth that doesn't make them perform. The spot they want you to know isn't just on their body, it's in their mind. It's the space where they finally feel safe enough to stop being strong for a moment and just be seen. When you reach for him, not out of duty, but with genuine affection, you touch more than skin. You touch pride, memory, and longing all at once. That simple act tells him, you don't have to be perfect to be wanted. And for a man who's lived through years of quiet pressure, that's the fantasy, being desired without having to earn it. He won't say it out loud, because words risk rejection. But his body always tells the truth, the way he exhales when your hand lingers, the way his eyes soften when you hold his face. That's the unspoken language of mature love, less about fire, more about permission to melt. At this stage, what men truly crave isn't wildness, it's safety. The kind of touch that says, you're still worthy, you're still wanted, you can rest now. Once you understand where that spot truly is and how to reach it, something beautiful happens. It stops being just about touch and starts becoming a doorway to deeper intimacy and love. How this spot deepens intimacy and love. When an older man finally feels safe in your touch, something changes not just in his body, but in his spirit. That spot he never talks about isn't just a place of pleasure, it's a place of trust. When you find it and approach it with gentleness, you're not only awakening desire, you're reminding him that love doesn't have to feel like effort anymore. For most of his life, he's been the one doing, giving, leading, proving. Intimacy, to him, often meant performance, not connection. But the moment he feels your hand, your warmth, your patience, he starts to let go of that lifelong tension. His breathing slows, his body softens. The guard he's carried for decades begins to fall away. And in that surrender, he finds something far rarer than pleasure, peace. This is where love deepens. Because when a man can be vulnerable in your presence, when he can let himself be touched without shame or expectation, it creates a kind of closeness words can't describe. It's no longer about chemistry. It's about communion. Because at this stage of life, love isn't about chasing passion. It's about creating a space where passion can finally rest. And when a woman learns how to reach that place in him with tenderness, presence, and patience, she's not just touching his body, she's touching his history. And that's where the real transformation begins. Because once he feels that depth, he stops hiding from love and starts offering it back in ways you've never seen before. Have you ever felt that quiet shift, the moment when connection stops being physical and starts feeling spiritual? When his guard drops, and suddenly it's not about desire anymore, but about trust? Tell me in the comments, do you believe true intimacy after 60 comes from the body, the heart, or both? I'd love to hear your thoughts and stories. Men after 60 don't want a clinical partner. They don't want you to make this some kind of performance or mechanical procedure. What he wants, though he'll never say it out loud, is for you to bring that same teasing, adventurous energy you use in every other part of intimacy into this, to giggle, to flirt, to whisper in his ear, "You trust me," and then push his boundaries in a way that feels exciting instead of intimidating, which we'll explore right this. The playful approach that breaks down his walls. After 60, men often carry invisible armor, built from years of responsibility, heartbreak, and unspoken fears. They've learned to be composed, practical, and careful with emotion. But beneath that calm exterior still lives a part of him that longs to laugh, to play, to feel light again. The secret to breaking down his walls isn't pressure or intensity, it's playfulness. Playfulness disarms him in a way seriousness never could. A soft smile, a teasing glance, a light touch followed by a laugh. It tells him that intimacy doesn't have to be heavy. You're showing him that connection can be joyful, spontaneous, and safe all at once. When he feels that energy, he starts to breathe differently. His shoulders relax. His tone softens. The guarded man gives way to the boy who once loved being adored. It's not about flirting like you're 20 again. It's about reawakening curiosity, a playful touch on his arm when you pass by, a whisper that makes him grin, a wink that says, "I still see you." These small moments remind him that desire doesn't fade with age, it evolves. What he feels with you isn't just attraction, it's relief. Relief that he can still feel alive without having to perform. So tease him not with control, but with curiosity. When you're together, let the mood shift from serious to playful. Lightly brush your fingers over his chest, pull back with a smile, and whisper something that makes him grin. It's not about being seductive in a practiced way. It's about being present, mischievous, and warm. Playfulness turns the room from a performance into a conversation, one made of touch, laughter, and small surprises. Maybe you tease him by leaning in close, saying something soft like, "You still blush when I do that?" Or by letting your touch wander for a moment, then pausing just long enough for him to laugh and pull you closer. That mix of comfort and unpredictability reignites chemistry. It reminds him that desire can still be tender and fun, even after decades together. And once those walls are gone, something beautiful happens. He doesn't just want your touch anymore. He starts craving your presence, your energy, your joy, the woman who made him feel young without trying. The bridge between lust and love. At this stage of life, physical connection means something entirely different. It's no longer about proving desire, it's about deepening it. Lust without love feels fleeting, and love without touch can start to fade into routine. But when the two meet, when affection and passion merge, Something timeless is created. That's the bridge between lust and love. Emotional intimacy wrapped in physical warmth. For a man after 60, that bridge is sacred. His body may slow down, but his emotions run deeper than ever. What he truly craves isn't intensity, it's authenticity. He doesn't want to be wanted just for pleasure. He wants to be felt. Every touch, every kiss, every moment of closeness becomes an exchange of trust rather than performance. When you reach for him not to ignite lust, but to remind him he's still cherished, his whole being responds. The walls drop, the breath softens, the connection becomes spiritual, almost wordless. You're not just touching his skin, you're touching the years behind it, the regrets, the victories, the memories, the ache of still wanting to be desired. That's where true intimacy lives, in the space between physical and emotional. When your hands linger a little longer, when your eyes stay locked after laughter fades, when the silence between you feels like language that's not lust or love alone, that's the union of both. I once heard an older couple next door say, "It's not about fireworks anymore. It's about warmth that never leaves." And that's what this bridge feels like. Not the spark of youth, but the glow of understanding. If this message spoke to you, if it reminded you that love after 60 isn't about chasing passion, but nurturing connection, please like this video. Every like tells me these stories matter, that they help women rediscover their confidence, warmth, and quiet power in love. Because when a woman learns how to bring warmth to the body and tenderness to the heart at the same time, she doesn't just awaken desire, she awakens devotion. Step by step to safely introduce it. The body changes, but so does the heart. Both need gentleness to open again. When it comes to intimacy after 60, pace matters more than passion. Introducing that spot isn't about surprise or seduction. It's about creating safety, both emotional and physical, so he can let go without fear or hesitation. Here's how you begin. Before any touch, make him feel at ease. Soft lighting, slow breathing, a bit of humor, anything that tells his body, you're safe here. Let the moment unfold without pressure. The goal isn't to perform, it's to connect. Start with trust, not touch. Talk, smile. Ask about something simple, something real. Emotional closeness always comes before physical comfort. Once he starts to open up, the atmosphere shifts. His breathing deepens. His posture relaxes. That's when his body begins to listen. Your hands should be slow, curious, and respectful. Think of it as a dance, not a routine. Notice how his body responds, the sighs, the stillness, the quiet, leaning in. The more you observe, the more you'll understand what brings him not just pleasure, but peace. Don't rush to the next step. Maintain eye contact. Stay playful. Keep your tone light. If he laughs nervously, laugh with him. That's his way of releasing tension. The warmth between you will do the rest. When it's over, don't move away too quickly. Rest your head on his chest. Let him feel your breath. That's the moment he realizes it wasn't about excitement. It was about belonging. You've shown him that intimacy doesn't have to prove anything. It just has to feel real. How this makes you unforgettable to him. There's a kind of woman a man never forgets, not because she's the most beautiful, but because she made him feel seen in a way no one else ever did. When you reach that spot, not just the physical one, but the emotional one, you awaken something deeper than attraction. You touch the place in him that remembers what it's like to be wanted without having to perform. And once a man experiences that, he never forgets it. For years, he's been admired for what he does, his work, his strength, his dependability. but you admire him for who he is. You make him feel safe enough to drop the mask, to let go of pride, to simply exist in your presence. You don't chase or demand, you invite. You don't fix him, you feel him. That difference stays with him long after the moment ends. Even when he's alone, he'll think about the way you looked at him, not with expectation, but with warmth. He'll remember how your laughter softened his edges, how your touch carried peace instead of urgency. In a world that taught him to be hard, you became the one place where he could soften. That's why you become unforgettable, because you didn't just stir desire, you restored dignity. You made him feel wanted and worthy. You reminded him that love, in its truest form, doesn't fade with age. It matures, deepens, and glows quietly, like a slow-burning fire that never goes out. As poet Pablo Neruda once wrote, "I love you as certain dark things are to be loved, in secret, between the shadow and the soul." That's the kind of love you give, the kind that lingers in silence, lives in memory, and teaches him that tenderness can be stronger than time. The truth is, the more calm, confident, and kind you become, the harder you are to forget. The truth is, what men secretly long for after 60 isn't a wild spark. It's a quiet flame, the kind that burns steady, safe, and real. That spot everyone talks about isn't only about pleasure, it's about presence. It's the space where he stops pretending to be strong and finally lets himself feel loved again. When you approach him with patience instead of pressure, curiosity instead of control, you awaken something far beyond the physical. You give him peace. You remind him that he's still desired, still capable of connection, still human, beneath the years of restraint. That's the kind of intimacy he'll never forget, not because it excites him, but because it heals him. So remember, touch him with laughter, not performance, with warmth, not urgency. Because the most powerful part of a woman isn't how she moves, it's how she makes him feel safe enough to stop moving and just breathe. If this message spoke to you, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more reflections on love, connection, and intimacy after 60. And I'm Vernon. Thank you for watching my video till now, and see you next time.